Welcome into a brand new episode of WSI TV. Enjoy the show.
Welcome into WSI TV, where we have an all-new episode planned for you. I'm Sean Bauer, with me is Jordan Bishop, and we're about to get into your hidden Bitcoin payout without having to buy Bitcoin right now. And we're going to get straight to it here. Jordan, kick us off with some of the recent news about Bitcoin.
Yeah, so basically, Bitcoin has been an international thing. You know, back in 2012-ish, it was banned from America. You know, the exchanges were all banned from U.S. soil. So it went worldwide, really. And obviously, as you know, it's been growing like crazy. You see these headlines all the time about Bitcoin. It is a bit of a scary thing, you know, if you don't know what you're looking at. Yeah. But right now, as Sean said, we're going to show you how to profit from Bitcoin without ever buying it. So I just want to bring your attention here real quick to something very interesting that's going on. Now, the CME Group, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is the world's largest futures exchange, is set to launch a Bitcoin futures contract this upcoming Sunday on December 18th, right? And that's big news for the US markets in general, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. For this cryptocurrency, this digital currency that a lot of people still don't even really know what it is, I mean, this is a huge step where it's obviously going more mainstream. And the biggest part of this whole thing, I think, is it's going to allow, allow institutional investing. So some of the big boys, as you call them, some of the big banks have the opportunity to invest in Bitcoin really for the first time. We also just need to know, this is really going to be the first time where on a large scale, people will be able to short Bitcoin using futures contracts. Again, it's just speculating on Bitcoin down the line is all futures contract is. So this is some exciting stuff, some new stuff, and something that a lot of people are going to make a lot of money on.
Right, definitely. I mean, it's not far-fetched to say maybe in your portfolio down the line, you might have 10-20% cryptocurrency, you know, depending on how things go here, of course, because people are speculating that Bitcoin is in a bubble. It just recently hit $17,000 per coin, per Bitcoin, you know, and the people who are saying it's in a bubble are also looking at the fact that you will be able to short Bitcoin with these futures contracts. So they're asking the question, will this rain down heavier if this is a bubble and if it does pop? You know, a lot of people are comparing it to tulip mania. Right. You know, back in the 1600s, there was this supposedly the first ever economic bubble on record, of course, where tulip bulbs shot up in price. I think I read earlier they were trading at 10 times the average skilled craftsman's salary, yearly salary, 10 times that amount. Now, if you look at a chart for this, just look up Tulip Mania. That thing popped. You know, a lot of people lost a lot of money on that, and people are comparing that very closely to the Bitcoin trend, I guess, right now. Yeah, and there are really two sides to this story. Either you love it or you hate it, talking about Bitcoin here. Some people say it doesn't add any real value. It's not something real. It's not something here to stay. And whenever it's moving 20% in a day, this is something that can crash very, very hard, very, very quickly. On the other side, it is the new gold, here to stay for the next 10, 20, 50 years, something that can reach astronomical numbers. We don't really care about that. Right now, that's not what we're focused on. We just want kind of more of a sure thing when we're talking about making money through your investments. And we're going to talk about blockchain here, which is another term you may have heard talking about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. But blockchain is basically the foundation for this. It's just, you know, transactions in a row, isn't it? Right, and a blockchain is sort of exactly what it sounds. It's a series of blocks in a chain, and each one of those blocks holds multiple Bitcoin transactions. But the reason we're looking at this now is because blockchain can be used for, you know, our standard banking system as well. So it's not just, you know, let's say the Bitcoin bubble pops, you know, again, if there is a bubble, I'm not saying there is, let's say it does, blockchain can stick around for multiple other things, you know, for security reasons, bank transactions, you know, it could block against these hackers getting into your bank account, into your social security and all that. So let's take a page out of Levi Strauss's book and take a look at blockchain. Yeah, I mean, let's look back at the gold rush when, I mean, there were some people getting rich from gold, just mining for gold back out in California all those years ago. But Levi Strauss was the one who really made the most money from this, and it wasn't just from mining gold.
he actually went the alternate route, and he provided all the materials, those genes obviously, all the materials that the gold miners needed to mine for gold. So he knew basically 100% certain that he was going to be able to sell his product to these miners because all of them needed it. Not every miner was striking gold, but everyone was using these materials that Levi Strauss was providing. That's how he got rich. And this is a similar thing we're doing here, and it's actually through Riot at this point.
Right, so the interesting point here is the way Levi Strauss works, and as Sean said, everyone was looking towards gold, wanting to invest in gold because that's what everyone was talking about. Now the people who invested in Levi Strauss would have made a whole lot of money because those people looking at the gold turned their back on him and what he was doing. So the way Levi Strauss works into this this sequence we're talking about here is because, you know, when back during the gold rush, everybody, the whole public had their eyes on gold. How could they invest in gold and get their hands on some? The people who looked at Levi Strauss, you know, and ultimately invested their time and money in him, they made the big bucks, you know, because he was servicing the gold miners, as Sean rightly said, and that's why we're turning to Riot, because Riot is a blockchain company, you know, specifies in blockchains, in securing blockchains, in the which, you know, help mine the bitcoins. So we're not looking at Bitcoin here, but if you look at this chart for Riot, you'll see that it has increased 324% in the last 3 months. Now, you know, Bitcoin is surging as well, but this looks like more of a stable investment in my book.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as insane. We're not getting these crazy price swings like we will with Bitcoin. Obviously, this is just going to have some volatility because it's in that same arena, but it's not the same as Bitcoin here. It's actually more of a foundational piece, like we said, an auxiliary to Bitcoin, sort of, when you're looking at it through these investment goggles. But again, here, I mean, I see a chart that I think is, you know, again, relatively orderly. I think there are some parts of this chart that I can trust, and that's where, I mean, at this point, I'm just waiting for a good entry point on this good-looking Riot stock.
Exactly, and you guys should know by now, the way we use technical analysis, it's exactly that. We want to trust the chart. We want to trust the stock's movement. We want to use specific indicators in order to know when to get in this stock. And, you know, looking at this chart right now up on your screen, I'm looking at that, and the 50-day moving average, that red line you see on the bottom right-hand side that's curving up, for me, I want to see this stock come back towards that, and the evidence shows us that there's a good chance it's going to bounce right off it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's clearly something to that point, Jordan, like you just said, and it's going to be coming back towards that 50 moving average line. So we'll see about that. But this Riot, using blockchain, investing in that, and this sort of company, is your hidden payout from Bitcoin, again, without having to actually invest in Bitcoin. So there we have that, but now it's time to turn our attention to a brand new round of verses.
That's exactly right. So for those of you who don't know, verses is a section that we do where Sean and I pick one stock each. This time we're doing crypto stocks to base it off the theme of this episode. We track those results for 2 weeks, and the stock with the highest gain wins. Now, Sean, if you want to tell us what happens to the loser, since you're going to be the loser this time.
Yeah, the loser always has to take a pretty terrible punishment. We'll introduce actually a new special wheel next week, I think, hopefully. So we'll figure out how this is going and what sort of punishment the loser is going to take. Could be silly string like we actually did in our live episode at the annual Wealth Summit. Could be drinking out of a sippy cup, having to be a bartender for the other person. Some sort of fun punishment for the winner, terrible punishment for the loser. But we'll get to that as soon as we find out the results from this round. Well, let's go ahead and pick our stocks, Jordan.
Yeah, definitely. And just going with the theme of, you know, like not looking directly at Bitcoin, looking at other things surrounding it. Right. I'm taking, again, another page out of Levi Strauss's book. I'm trading Overstock.com. That ticker is OSTK. Now, many of you know it as, you know, a big retailer that tries to compete with Amazon but can't quite get there. What Overstock.com, how Overstock.com relates to Bitcoin is it oversees T0, which is basically launching an ICO, which is an initial coin offering, and it's using that blockchain technology we've been talking about. So I know that might sound like I'm dancing around the crypto a little bit, but it's got everything to do with blockchain, like we were talking about, like what Riot does, that stock we just mentioned. So yeah, OSTK, it's sitting around 44.60 right now, and that's looking great to me.
Yeah, I do like that pick. I like mine a little bit more. I'm going with NVIDIA. A lot of you guys will know this already. I think we've recommended this in the past and made a lot of money off of it. NVIDIA, the ticker NVDA, sitting at just over $100 $191 right now. And it's all, again, going back to the Levi Strauss secret, like Jordan was just talking about. Part of how Bitcoin is mined, we don't need to get too technical, but you do need some technology. That actually the graphic processors NVIDIA has is helping to this end. A lot of miners using what NVIDIA is offering here to do that. So again, NVIDIA is my pick at just over 191 bucks, and we'll see what happens, Jordan.
Yeah, I just want to mention, I mean, NVIDIA is such a great stock, such a great company, because, I mean, before today, I didn't realize that they were so heavily involved in the crypto world. They also make the chips, the automated driving chips for Tesla cars. So, I mean, I love that company. I can't believe you're using it against me, but, you know, fair play. It is in the crypto world here. So we've got Overstock.com against NVIDIA. Looks like a great matchup here. You know, we've kept it in theme with that cryptocurrency round. And remember, you know, you can take a Bitcoin payout without ever buying Bitcoin using companies like Riot.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you have it. Unfortunately, that is all the time for this episode. So we will say thank you for watching, and we'll speak to you next time. Cheers.
Thanks for watching the latest episode of WSI TV. Be sure to visit WSITV.com, where you can subscribe for free with no contract and gain instant access to the secrets of self-made millionaires via the WSI TV Vault. So go ahead and claim this gift for free now at WSITV.com.